Hey guys, how's it going? It's time for the June garden tour. So I think what I want to do is just show you some of my favorite spots in the garden right now, and then also update you on a few of the projects that we've done this season so far. So I wanted to start right in the front of our house because there are a couple of projects I want to update you on, but I also wanted to show you some really pretty things going on in the flower beds. Got some beautiful Veronica in bloom here. I love Veronica, and it looks really pretty backed by these climbing iceberg roses here. Daylilies are about ready to start blooming. Sedum is setting its blooms there. We've got yarrow about ready to bloom as well. And then I just love the textures that are going on right here with the lamb's ear and the daylily, kind of that strappy grassy texture, and then this tall kind of ferny texture. I just think it's really pretty. But I also have a lot of perennials that are about ready for the first cutback of the season. So like right here to my left, there are a bunch of hardy geraniums that are just about bloomed out and they're looking wild. They need to be cut back. I mean, the grass actually goes about a foot underneath those flowers is where the lawn actually starts. So in about the next week or so, I'm going to be going through and making my first cut back of the season. That way they have time to reflush and bloom again, and they will stay a lot more tidy the second time around. So I wanted to update you on the Supertunia Bordeaux up here. It's looking wonderful. I'm so excited with how it has filled in right here, and it's just getting water from our grass sprinklers. So overhead water, they're still doing good with overhead water. The grasses look great. So I think that these ones might be baby tut. They were labeled Prince Tut. I don't know. They might put on more growth and get bigger. And I don't mind if they're baby tut. They're still very pretty, but they're just staying kind of short and they're stooling out right now and they're getting thicker, looking beautiful. But they are just getting water every 2 days with our grass sprinklers. And then we do a water soluble fertilizer every Saturday. So they're just doing great. Also, these containers I planted in a vlog a while ago, and they're filling in really nice. So I did a Lavender Topiary, some salmon zonal geraniums, and creeping jenny. And I really love how this creeping jenny has filled in and the kind of that dramatic drape. But I don't think I'm going to repeat this combination in this particular spot. I think it's a pretty combo, but I think that these are too gray for up here. I don't think that they stand out quite enough. The flowers aren't bright enough. I don't know. I do like it. I think it's very pretty, and I'm going to leave it for this season, but I think I'll do something different next year. Then I'm also working on a new area up here. You can see I have some plants just hanging out. I've been kind of moving them around and trying to decide what I want to do. So we should have a video for you guys about that, probably pretty quick here. So I want to show you guys what's going on in the Versailles garden up here. So here's another prime example of perennials that need to be cut back. Salvia is about ready to be done, and it's starting to flop, so I'll cut all of that back. And you guys, I cut it like this far from the ground, like an inch from the ground. I cut it back, it reflushes and blooms. You can go in and cut it back by about half. You usually get a better rebloom, but I prefer to have a really tidy structure instead with maybe a little bit fewer blooms. Red Valerian is about ready to be done. You can see some of it looks a little scrubby, and I have morning glory in this bed so bad. Look at this. Look at all this morning glory. It just crawls up every single plant in this particular flower bed. So I think I kind of need to do a complete cutback of everything and then kind of try to rogue out the morning glory, because that one will start to grow faster than everything else will. So I just don't know. If you guys have any excellent morning glory control suggestions, please leave me a comment down below. Okay, and then up here, a couple more containers, and these are my favorite in our whole entire yard. I love this combination. Got a Prince Tut right in the center, which is definitely Prince Tut. It's putting on some height. And if you guys saw this video when I initially put these together, this grass was all the way down here. You couldn't even see it beyond the geraniums. The geraniums kind of engulfed it. So I'm really happy that it's put on a lot of growth and it's doing well. So I've got the salmon zonal geraniums. I've got Supertunia Priscilla, which is an absolutely gorgeous double petunia. One of my favorites. Love that purple with the dark veining. Then I've got Superbell's Yellow Chiffon, which is just a soft buttery yellow, and then a light green potato vine. I just think the whole thing is really, really pretty, and it's huge. It's really done well. So the biggest thing about the Versailles garden up here that you might notice is that there are no more privets. We had all of them removed, and it's kind of funny because that wasn't even on our list this year. You know how you usually have a list of priority projects you want to get done, and when we initially moved in, Aaron and I made this huge list and thought, okay, well, we'll take, you know, quite a few years to get all of these things done. But I should have known better, because we're kind of all or nothing type of people, and we just hauled into this garden and have just tore so much stuff out that needed to come out, stuff that was almost dead. And after this winter being so horrible, the privets looked extra bad. So we couldn't handle looking at them anymore, so we had them removed, and we actually had a crew of young men come in to do that because I physically couldn't do that by myself. I tried and there was no way. So they came in and had them out in about half day. I would have taken probably a week to take them out. And then you can see all the boxwoods are lined up. They're not quite in the exact position I want them. I want a very defined arch going out. And then on my left here, I want to do the same thing. And this is one of the areas I want to redefine because I want this side to mirror the other side, which means I'm going to have to bring this flower bed way in. I'm going to probably have to remove the grass island, and then it's probably going to end up about where the locust tree is, and that locust tree's got something wrong with it. I don't know if you can see it, but halfway, like half of it looks great on the left side, half of it's yellowing and looking pretty bad. I'm thinking maybe it had borers at some point that wasn't maybe treated quick enough or something. I've been kind of keeping my eye on it, trying to decide what to do. I mean, it's still a pretty tree, so we'll probably keep it until it really becomes a problem. But anyway, so this is an exciting project. I'm really, really looking forward to getting the boxwoods in the ground and really creating something beautiful. It drives me nuts that this spot isn't balanced. I feel like a formal garden should have some balance to it. I don't know about you guys, but this urn right here is perfectly centered with the patio doors right behind me. So that area is great, but everything else doesn't make sense. Like the lady with the plantings around her, it's off to the side. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to redefine the area. So I did plant up this area. You guys know I did the boxwoods around the outside, Russian sage, and then this is where the Cafe Noir tulips were. And I waited to plant all of these annuals until I was ready to cut back the tulips. That way I could know where the tulips weren't, so I didn't run into any bulbs. But I did Supertunia Bordeaux along with some Labilaria, some alyssum. I think it's a mixture of White Knight and Snow Princess. And I think it's going to look very, very pretty, especially when that Russian sage starts to bloom. And I mean, this area, I love this garden, even how it looks right now. It is beautiful. I just kind of want to make it my own. And I think that's exciting. I don't know. I really like to dream about what could be up here. I'd like to have some water, maybe like a water feature of some kind. Up here, more annual planting. I've got Supertunia Limoncello on 2 corners and Supertunia Bordeaux on the other 2. They're also doing really well, also being watered overhead and doing really great, fertilized once a week. And I haven't touched them other than that. I do have quite a bit of weeds growing in between. You can't see them, but they're there. I've got portulaca and spurge. I don't know if you guys deal with spurge, that really tiny leaved flat growing weed. We have it terrible here. So I've got to get in there and start pulling it out. Thankfully, they kind of match the color of the petunia leaves, so you don't really see them unless you look really hard. All right, so now we're going to take off this way. I want to show you another update and another area we're going to redo. Oh, also, we had a plum tree removed. Right at the end of that random boxwood hedge right outside the Versailles garden, there was a plum tree that was probably, I want to say it was about 80% dead. And it was like that when we moved in last year. We just didn't get around to having it take it out last year. So I am missing that structure that was right there. It was beautiful to look through the Versailles garden and see that red tree. So I'm probably going to go back in with something else that's red. But maybe four somethings, 4 like really structural something. I don't know yet. Another update are these crescent self-watering containers that we planted up. I think it's been like 2 or 3 weeks ago. You guys are doing so good. Look at these. I am so impressed because it's been really hot. Like it's been in the upper 90s for the last week and they have not skipped a beat. So when we planted them up initially, I filled up the reservoirs all the way, and then I did water them from overhead for the first 2 days after that because I didn't feel like, well, they weren't rooted in yet, and I just felt like they needed a little extra help. And I think that helped them out. I think that's necessary. So when you very first fill up the reservoir, those plants aren't wicking up moisture quite yet. So I think that's important. And then after that, we haven't had to fill up, but maybe a couple of the reservoirs we've topped off. They weren't even empty. So they're just like self-sufficient out here, and they are looking gorgeous. Look at that. Look at all the color, and they're just about ready to start spilling over the edges. So this is a mix of the Supertunia Bubblegum, Supertunia Vista Fuchsia, and Supertunia Silverberry. Just a very bright, showy mix of color, and I'm really glad that I went with all one combination because I think it is very striking to do it that way. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys what this looked like, and then I have another area to show you that we're working on. So this area is looking pretty blank. We have cleared out a lot of what was there. When we moved in last year, there was a dead hawthorn tree, like dead center, that we had removed last year. And then toward the back here, there were 3 tall juniper trees that started right here, went maybe right here. And they were underneath this willow, like you could hardly see them. So they were getting really kind of crowded out, and they were looking really sad because they hadn't had very much airflow around them. So we had those taken out. There was also a juniper right here, a low growing type, that was taking up, like it was all the way back here. It came over, it came all the way out onto the pathway this far, and it also came into the grass. So that was filling up this entire area all the way to about here. So that's gone. So now we can fill it with some pretty things. So I've just been kind of working on this area, just clearing it out. There was Caryopteris right here that had naturalized, like it had spread everywhere, and it's just been popping up everywhere. So I'm just trying to pull that stuff out as it shows up, and just trying to kind of keep on top of the weeds until I know exactly what I want to do with this spot. I do love this. I love the willow. I love the canopy with the, I think this is a Hebe statue. I just love it. I think it's a really kind of serene area. And I don't know, the globe willows with this drippy foliage kind of reminds me like of the South or something. I just really, really like it. And then I've got Gaillardia and Salvia over there. Salvia is about ready to be cut back. Gaillardia, which I'm actually not 100% a fan of because it's such warm colors, but I'm leaving it because the pollinators love it. So, you know, got to keep the honeybees happy too. Actually, let's veer this way just for a second, because we just did a video where I did the hedge trimming over here, and I don't know if you guys can see, but the second I topped these boxwoods, like all the spiders came out, and there's new webs like all over the top of these boxwoods. But I did clean up this area. I think it's looking pretty good. There were quite a few of you guys who wondered what was planted in here, so I just wanted to stop here and show you that this is all Gara. It's absolutely gorgeous when it's in full bloom. It's just like this really ethereal looking garden. I think I do want to get a larger statue for this area because this Gara almost gets so tall that you can't see her, but it looks just like this really frothy, beautiful area. The icebergs are doing great. I had to cut these all the way back down to the ground after the winter, and they've come back and they're looking really good. Sweet autumn clematis here kind of covers the whole archway. Hi, Dexter. Sweet autumn here as well. So that'll start blooming here late summer, and it's very pretty. All right, so now back toward the gazebo. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this area. We just planted this up in a video not very long ago, but I didn't really explain what was back here. So last year, back by our patio doors, I had those big wicker pots, and I had those gigantic hydrangeas that were absolutely gorgeous in them. I moved them into the cold frame for winter, and they still suffered some winter kill because our winter was horrible. So I had to cut them back pretty much. And then what I did is I took them out of the containers and planted them over here. So I planted this one. I had an extra last year. This has been in the ground since last year, but there's this one, that one, this little one right here that's looking amazing. And then one more. So the 4 that were in the pots are right back here. So hopefully I give them the best shot at life by being in the ground somewhere where, you know, they're a little more protected, a little more insulated, their root balls, but they're all setting buds and trying to bloom. So I'm really happy with that. Just wanted to stop off quick and give you an update on a couple of containers. So this one in particular, this is one plant. I know I've showed this to you guys in other videos. I'm just so impressed by it. This is a butterfly Marguerite daisy, and it's just done amazing. The whole container has. I mean, this one has as well. Look at this sedum. This is the one that I planted up with the clematis. The sedum has gotten enormous. It's a beautiful centerpiece. And then we've got this galvanized raised bed that I planted vegetables in, totally going to town. I actually need to probably harvest some of this lettuce out. It's going to start to bolt here pretty soon. And then other containers here that are looking really great. We've had a ton of wind, so this like is a wind tunnel right through here. So this poor Marguerite's kind of a little bit flopped over because of the wind, but still looking stunning. And of course this one's looking really great. These are Nosferatu daylilies as the centerpiece, and they're about ready to start blooming. I think that's gonna be very pretty. Deep, deep purple blooms. Hanging baskets are doing great, which I don't typically do a ton of hanging baskets. I don't know why that is. It just hasn't been a thing for me. We did these for a video not long ago and they're all doing really, really well. Really happy with the combinations. All right, so the last thing I want to show you today is the rose garden area. So in the last tour video, there was hardly any color out here. There was just a few buds and maybe one rose open. About 4 days after we filmed, they all started to bloom. So I'm really excited to show you guys now. I've been trying to keep up on the deadheading and I don't know the names of all these roses because these were all here when we moved in. Some of them, like I know, this is some type of an old, David Austin rose of some type. This one right here, I just deadheaded it last night, is my distant drums, which I really love. Those are William Shakespeare's, which have been windblown within an inch of their life. Those poor things, they got so tall and beautiful. And then we had one night where it was horrid, horrid wind. And those were all like flat and there were branches everywhere out of trees. And you can see it's still breezy today. It's been breezy. Yesterday was really windy. And we were gonna film yesterday and we couldn't because of how windy it was. But there's some beautiful color in here. And I'm typically, like you guys know, I've said it a whole bunch of times, I'm not typically one to have like red dotted around in my garden, but it works here, like in a traditional rose garden setting. I really like it. I think it's really fun having all the different colors and I can come out here and cut whatever I'm in the mood to cut, which is so fun. Also, the boxwoods here, I showed this to you guys recently in a vlog. There were privets here as well. And we finally got those taken out too. And it has freed up so much space. Like I couldn't believe it. This pathway was so narrow because the privets came out so far. So they came out to about here and they came all the way over to where they were pushing this rose over. They were massive. So I'm excited that it just freed up all this space. I mean, came all the way out to here. And so I really didn't plant anything over here because I knew we were gonna probably get them out. Anyway, I think this is gonna look really, really gorgeous. Just kind of want to show you in here. I love this space. I love this fireplace area. This is original to the original part of our house, so 1908. And it still works, it drafts, it does really, really well. We've used it quite a few, no, we actually haven't used it this year yet, but we used it a lot last year. So I'm really excited to get the boxwoods planted, get that kind of intimate feel back. It still has the intimate feel. This is a super old lilac right here. You can tell it needs some pruning. A lot of things, I feel like I need to just take them all the way down and do a big rejuvenating prune on them, but I just can't have that many holes. There's holes all over in the garden right now from stuff we've taken out, so I'm gonna try to take it a little bit slow. We'll see. So that's it for this tour, you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing what's going on. I feel like there's chaos all the time in this garden. We've just been tearing out so much stuff and there's so many things to plant, but I love it. I feel so lucky that this is my garden. It kind of feels unreal, actually, still. Like it doesn't feel like it's my garden yet. But we're making it more and more ours and it's just so much fun. We have fun dreaming about projects and I'm hopeful that next month in the July garden tour we actually have a vegetable garden to show you. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. That project's moved a lot slower than we thought it would, but I think it's going to be great in the end. I hope it's in time for me to plant some stuff for fall harvest. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video and we will see you in the next one. Bye.